games that I need to get covered for high school. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you. I just started recording the meeting. I forgot to start it, but I want to make sure the training portion is recorded. Brett, do you have anything for incident chair?
I have nothing at the moment. I'll just reserve anything I might contribute to when you talk about incident reports coming in.
Yep, I have a section coming up to talk about that. Brett's doing a great job. We haven't had a whole lot of incidents, and I think for the most part, they've all been handled pretty well. We have a couple in the pipeline, and I'm going to talk about a couple things with incidents and what we need to do about some unsportsmanlike conduct coming up. So, all right, thank you to all you. It's a couple loose ends. Elections are next month. Frank, you and I will talk, and we'll get an email out. I think that this is the election year for our upstate and downstate reps. So somebody from the north, somebody from the south to be a representative on the board. Mike Hernandez is currently in the south, and Fu is in the north. They both have done a great job, and are certainly welcome to continue. But if anybody else is interested in getting into our leadership, let me know. As of right now, our banquet is scheduled for June the 5th. We'll have more out about that in the next couple of weeks. And also a golf option with that Mike Berlotta does a great job putting together. It's a lot of fun. Game report. Just make sure you're completing those. It's important for us to know what's going on. I am going to add a couple things to the game report. I'm going to revise it a little bit. If we have anything with a locked-in penalty for a hit to the head or a defenseless player, we want to get those onto the just the referee report, not necessarily the incident report, just so that we kind of know those things happen. Those are the ones coaches often ask questions about. And it's good to refer to that report and see that those things are there. The other thing is if you have a player foul out, so he gets that 5 minutes of personal foul time accumulated throughout the game, we're going to want you to write that on there. We had a situation this week where an AD contacted us with a video, and the coach and the AD were questioning why the player was ejected for that hit. And it turned out after spending about 10-15 minutes circling around on the phone that the hit did not deserve the kid to be ejected, but it was his second big hit, and he had another foul, so he had 5 minutes of time, and he wasn't really ejected. He was he'd fouled out, and there was some confusion there. So also, if you do foul a player out, which is fine, sometimes that's a good tool when you get that kid a little out of control. Just be very clear with the coach after he fouls out. Don't use the word ejected or disqualified. Well, you use disqualified, but make sure you're very clear that it's a foul out. He can stay on the bench. He can't return to the game. And it's not reported as an ejection. It's not even reported to the DIAA. Okay. Another thing with incidents that we had this week that I want to be very, very clear with. If you have a situation where you have racial or ethnic slurs, anything about sexual orientation, religion, anything like that, where you have negative behavior from a player directed at another player or a team, those sort of things are not a 1 minute unsportsmanlike conduct foul at any level. They're automatic ejections. Okay, and they need to be reported to us very quickly. There's no tolerance for any kind of racial comments, any kind of religious, sexual orientation, any of that kind of stuff. Don't give warnings. If you hear it, stop it. If a coach or player tells you they're hearing it, be very receptive. Tell them you'll listen for it. If you think there's any credence to it, warn both coaches that you're getting some reports from the players or the coaches that there's language and stuff going on. And please remind your players to knock that off. It has no place in the game. And then the incidents, ejections and fights, just make sure you're getting those to us very quickly. and any unsportsmanlike conduct, particularly to the coach. We need that by the next day so we can report those. And then any field or facility issues you had, get those to us. Also put those in your game report. I had another thing here too I wanted to go over real quick. Yeah, let me do this. So with kind of incident report and unsportsmanlike, let's talk about conduct fouls versus unsportsmanlike real quickly. So we have the luxury of a conduct foul, which is very nice. That's for a minor infraction. Okay. Something like where a head coach just won't let a play go. You called a loose ball push and he keeps on going and going. He won't stop. He didn't like the call. One way to try to stop that and not have it be distracting from the game is to give that player a conduct foul. And if you've talked to me or worked with me, prefer that not be time serving, if at all possible. To try to do something when a ball is loose or their team has the ball, to take the ball away and give it to the other team. That's the most effective thing with a conduct foul. Okay. The other good conduct foul is, a player says something to you without profanity, questions your judgment, tells you something's ridiculous. It's not real loud. It's not overt. And it's immediately after a goal. Just take the ball away and then go tell the coach what he did. That's a good time for a conduct foul. Okay. And the other one that we'd like to see, where maybe you don't have to go to the full boat right away. That situation where a player beats another player, he turns around, waves at him, or he says something, that could be considered taunting or embarrassing. That's a good time to stop the play, take the ball away, because everybody thinks the kid just made a great play and then he was an asshole. So we're just going to let everybody know that. Pretty much everything else in high school lacrosse, we should see unsportsmanlike conducts. Okay. If you have player on player, that should never, ever be a conduct foul. It should never be a turnover. It should never just be a 30-second player. You have two players jawing at each other. One says something very colorful. The conversation gets inappropriate, using profanity. That should be an unsportsmanlike automatically. If it's racial, sexual, religious in tone, like I said, that should be an ejection right away. Okay. Anything from an assistant coach arguing, it should never be conduct. If an assistant coach asks a respectful question, what was this? He wants to know so he can coach his kids. Those are good. But if he's arguing a call, don't go with a conduct. Go to unsportsmanlike. If a coach or player says anything that questions your authority, questions your judgment, questions your integrity, or anything like that, that should automatically be unsportsmanlike. Anything with any kind of language, F-bombs, bullshit, whatever, they should be unsportsmanlike. Okay. And then post game, we had a situation this week where after a game, a coach started asking a fairly reasonable question, maybe, and then basically used colorful language and rated the crew compared to all the crews he's seen in his entire life. We're reporting that. We're going to report it to the DIAA because of the language. You don't have to throw a flag for that kind of thing, but I would like it. And I think Brett would like it, and JP, if you at least take your flag out and say, I'm giving you unsportsmanlike conduct for that, and state why, and then leave. Okay. You don't want to throw it. We don't have to go back and put it in the book and put you in a bad situation, but just somehow communicate that he crossed the line, and you are going to report that as an unsportsmanlike conduct foul. Does that make sense to everybody? All right. Any questions so far? All right. Let's move on real quick to HUDL. I want to do a quick demo because I think there's been a little bit of confusion about the way I've sent some stuff out.
Greg, can I say something?
I guess.
Oh, wow.
Go ahead.
As far as assistant coaches, prior to the game, if an assistant coach raises a question, be polite, answer his question if you have to. But if he starts to argue with you, just tell him to direct it towards the head coach. Just, "Hey, coach, I understand. Talk to your head coach and I'll talk to him." We had a situation where an assistant coach wanted to discuss a uniform violation. That's not the assistant coach's position. He shouldn't be talking to our officials about that. In this case, he called the entire crew over. He wanted to discuss it. It's not his position. Assistant coaches, once again, are supposed to be seen and not heard. Like Greg said, if he wants to ask, if he is the goalie coach and he wants to ask about an interference call because the goalie had the ball clamped, answer that question professionally. However, before the game, this assistant coach called the entire crew over. He wanted to point out that the other team's numbers on their jerseys were incorrect. I understand, you want to be cordial, you want to discuss it. Coach, I understand. Direct your question to your head coach and we'll address it there. If the head coach doesn't bring it up, you don't need to deal with that. But again, assistant coaches should be seen and not heard. Just wanted to address that. You don't have to deal with that if an assistant coach wants to make a big deal about it. In this case, the assistant coach was polite. He was respectful. He just wanted to have a conversation. But I know underlying, he was trying to get at least the opening face-off awarded to his team. You don't have to deal with that, and you shouldn't have to deal with that. That's all.
Yeah, what your required conferences with the head coach. If the head coach has any kind of issues about the other team, that should be covered when they say, "Do you have any questions, problems, issues, anything you want to discuss?" And also, if somebody brings up a uniform concern or something like that at this point in the season, even if it's a head coach, respectfully tell them to send that to JP and we'll discuss that. If it's a big enough problem, we'll send something out to everybody that needs to be corrected. Don't ever exclude a kid because somebody says they have the wrong uniform. There's a problem. It's bad. And also try your hardest not to give any pregame penalties. All right. HUDL. I'm going to do a demo in a second. The board has approved purchase of this. So we've spent money out of our training fund for this. It's a very, very useful tool. The reality is, in today's day and age, every game that you do is basically a televised game. Okay. They're being filmed in several different ways. Many of them are being aired on different streams on YouTube channels, different places. NFHS has its own streaming service that people can purchase. And it's only going to get to be more and more. Film is a phenomenal tool for us as officials to help us to improve. So please make sure you're using HUDL. I've sent invitations out. Almost everybody has accepted their invitation. And I can see people are at least looking at some stuff once in a while. I'd like to see a little more time with it. I can see that I get that kind of information. A few people didn't accept the invitations. I resent them today. If you have not received an invitation, you're confused or anything like that, please send me an email. We'll have a phone call and get you set up. Right now, I'm doing a couple of things. I'm sending out weekly playlists. I suggest you watch those, read the comments, study them. They don't always apply necessarily to you. But they could. And usually if I'm sending something in a playlist, it's something we've seen on film in several different occasions. Also, watch yourself. So we're getting more and more coaches to help us share film. We're trying to get as much of that up. If you have something in a game that happened, write the time, you think it happened. Go back, see if you can find the game in our account. If you can't, you can send me an email. I can try to get it. Coaches are very receptive now to sharing film with us, and hopefully we can get the film very quickly. You can go back and look and see what you did. Please don't ask coaches yourself for the film or get in conversations about film with coaches. We've told them all that we're sharing film with you, and they know that. If they say anything derogatory about, it's going to be on film, or, JP will disagree with your call when he sees it on film. That could be, if it's in the right context, grounds for a warning or an unsportsmanlike, but just try and stay away from those. The last thing is I've started doing some full game observations on officials. I've gotten 3 or 4 of them out. I've gotten good feedback on most of them. I had good discussions with the officials about them. It's not the best way to do an observation, but I'm finding it effective, just to point out different things that officials are doing and hopefully try and give them some help and some guidance. And along with that, I'm mixing in good stuff that people are doing. An observation isn't just to find all the negative stuff. It's to show what you're doing well for you to continue to do it. Okay. Are there any questions so far? Okay, I want to do a quick demo just so people kind of understand what we're doing. So when you go into HUDL, this should be your cover page, okay? And you want to make sure you're in the Delaware Lacrosse Officials Association. That would be here. And the best thing to do is just go to video. And when you go into video, all the games that either have been shared directly with us or I've downloaded from other teams' accounts, and any playlists that have been created and shared with the whole group show up in this screen. Also, you can filter. So if you just want to see the games, you can hit game, or you just want to see the playlists. Maybe you lost the email I sent with the playlist or something. You can go and see all the playlists, rewatch them, do all that. A couple things with the playlist, and this is where a couple people were confused. So when you click on the playlist, it's going to start the first video in the playlist. Okay. And it's going to have the comments that whoever put this up there, whether it's myself or JP or one of the other trainers, for this clip. Okay. Some of them will run for a little while. And then if you watch this one, and this was about a very good penalty relay. All right. At some point, it's going to stop, and this gets a little more highlighted over here. Okay. Read that entire thing. If you want to go back and look at it, you can just go back to the beginning by hitting the back arrow and hitting play, and then watch it. Okay. When it gets all the way to that thing and stops, you read it, you hit play again, and it will move to the next one. So you'll see on this one, all right, which was about penalty relays. Okay, they're going to start to show it. It's going to stop. Read it, move on to the next one. All right, does that make sense to everybody? I know a couple of people were confused. Okay, some of them have several comments, all of that. I think and I hope that these playlists end up as a good conversation in your pregame. It would be nice if you open your pregame. Hey, did you see the playlist last week? Did you see the clip about the two-man penalty relay? And have that as a discussion. It's only there to really try to make us better. Okay. You can also make comments in there like Mike Wilbur did in one. Make sure your comments are clean and not attacking anybody. Okay. Are there any questions about HUDL? This is a good thing. Okay. Just because I send you or JP sends you or one of our trainers sends you a clip asking a question because we saw it on HUDL, it's not a bad thing. The whole goal here is to create consistency among our group. The whole goal is to really work on our mechanics and make sure that we are all kind of doing the same things and seeing things in a similar way. And the people that benefit from the most are the players, because the games go the way they should. All right, social media. The main reason I put yes.
Hey, Kyle Williams here. I just wanted to. The playlist this week was great because for us newer officials, in the newer applicant class, talking about the three-man crew, because I don't get tons of opportunities working mainly summer games to work with the three-man crew. That part helps a lot. So it is a great tool for the newer officials to brush up on things you might not see in person. So that's all I wanted to add.
Thank you, Kyle.
Hey.
Oh, I just muted somebody because there were a bunch of background noise. If you were about to talk, open your mic again.
Sorry about that, Greg. Greg, it's Mark. I forgot to ask you this. I know in football, teams are reluctant to share video. are you getting the same pushback from the high schools about sharing lacrosse videos with you?
Yeah, I am really not. What I figured out is there's no way for them to like automatically share with us. So what I'm really working on doing is working with the teams to make our account a coach's account on their account. So basically I can go in there as a coach. Then I can look at something they tell me, or I can just download the whole film and upload it back into our account. And so far, nobody has said no to an exchange. Nobody has had anything negative to say. And most of the teams are, that I ask specifically will add us in that coach's capacity. There's been a little bit of a hiccup with the way the account's set up is getting them to automatically do that, but we're working through that. But I think, teams want to. And the only thing we need to make sure, and I didn't mention it, is you should not be sharing this film with people on other teams or anything like that. Don't there's no way for you to download or share the way I have your account set up, but don't do anything that allows another team to watch film that could be tied back to us. That's where we could get in trouble.
And,
All right.
Greg, in Maryland, all the teams are required, if you go to the school's YouTube page, they stream the game, so that may be able to help you to get access to the film.
Yep. Yeah, we're working on it, and I'm having success. So, this is the first year we've really done it. I'm sure by the end of this year, I'm going to have almost everybody set up so I can get almost every film pretty quickly for us. So, all right, I'm going to move on. Social media policy. The only reason I wanted to add this is there's become a very active officials Facebook page that used to be the U.S. Lacrosse Facebook page. It's a very good page for getting information and some communication with officials putting up situations, all that. I want to tell you if you're in that, use it with a grain of salt, okay? There are some people in there that want to be over officious. There's some people in there that think they know what they're doing and they don't. One example was there was a post, I think earlier this week, that had to do with if you had a crease violation and you restarted the ball with the goalie in the crease, and then you have a goalie interference on the outlet pass, and there were some suggestions in that you could go with basically two fouls there, that you would have goalie interference and you would potentially have illegal procedure. And I felt that that was incorrect advice, that in that case that you would even give the 5-yard illegal procedure. You would simply just go with the goaltender interference. So read that stuff with a grain of salt. If you're confused about anything, ask, talk about it in your pre-games, email myself, JP, any of our board members or trainers to get guidance if something doesn't sound right. Okay. All right. Couple other issues. Mouthpieces. They are technical fouls. I've had 3 or 4 coaches ask me about this because their players received 1 minute personal non-releasable fouls for a variety of mouthpiece issues. This is a technical foul, and the best way to adjudicate it is early and take the ball away. All right. Do not put a kid in the box for a minute for a technical foul. Also, if a goal has been scored and there's an equipment check requested and the kid does not have a mouthpiece, it's simply a turnover on the face-off. The goal still counts, regardless of who scored it.
Hey, Greg.
Subbing. Yes.
Hey, we've been seeing a lot of clear and white, and even the coaches do not know the rule on mouthpieces.
Okay. Yeah. I'll send something out, or JP will. My thought on that is at least they have a mouthpiece. We'll do our best, but we'll get the word out to get that out to their kids. Certainly look during the pregame, the kids who have it dangling, the kids who have it stuffed, up in a air hole of their helmet, or in their sometimes they stick them in their glove in the Velcro strap. Just tell them get it in and keep it in. Okay. And if you're going to be the mouthpiece guy, be the mouthpiece guy early. To me, the best time to get it is if the first face-off guy comes out without a mouthpiece, yell really loud. He's off the field, mouthpiece violation, and give the ball to the other team. So please do not start calling these mouthpiece fouls late in a close game. If you didn't call them early, it didn't just all of a sudden happen in the fourth quarter of a 4-3 game, right? It's happened the whole game. So if you're gonna go for it, start early. Subbing on man up and man down. A couple coaches have asked about this. In particular, what was going on was teams will take their goalie, their starting goalie, who's often their most athletic and best player, and want to have them as an attackman on man up. And basically what happens is the backup goalie runs on the field with an attackman stick. They switch sticks, and the goalie goes down and plays goalie. And he somehow gets arm pads. Either he already has them on, or they're exchanged. They do not have to go to the box. They don't have any man up or man up subs are dead ball subs. So they can run out on the field and do what they want. They can exchange sticks out on the field. I wouldn't even worry if they toss it a little bit, as long as they don't heave it. But don't make the goalie go all the way into the box and then run all the way out. That's improper. We had another question about clock operation and issues. This came up today. I think Chuck presented it, and I'll try and kind of post kind of what happened. They went through almost a whole game, had no clock issues, no problems. There was a small amount of time left in the third quarter, I believe, and they had either had a penalty. They had something happen where they were starting from a dead ball situation. And there was 8 seconds on the clock. They start play, the ball's tossed around a little bit and goes in the goal before the buzzer, so it was reported as a good goal. The coach immediately brought to the attention he felt the clock didn't start, and 3 or 4 seconds went before the clock started. And fortunately the crew did the right thing and did not listen to the coach or go talk to anybody else and try to disallow the goal. They allowed the goal, which is the right way to handle that. Couple things with that. I mean, they had not had any clock problems the whole game, so they had no reason to think somebody had to look up. And the clock was at the other end of the field, and most of the officials should not have been looking up or back or away. What I'll say is, with clock operation, and you're going to have issues here and there, if you're having problems with the clock starting or stopping on time, just make sure the first time you huddle up that whoever has the best view of the clock, even with turning away, just make sure at that point you start watching the clock and that it's starting and stopping appropriately. You're going to have clock problems. We don't run the clocks. If you do start having clock problems, and you do for example, ball goes out of bounds and you look up at the clock and there's 3 seconds and then the buzzer goes off, make them put the 3 seconds back on. If you notice it, okay, but only if you or one of your partners notice it. All right. Does that make sense? Work with them. That's why we always want to talk to our clock operators pregame and kind of see what we're working with. Talked about that. All right. What I wanted to do next, let me see. I have some clips here I wanted to share with you. I'm going to go through these as a playlist. And I hope everybody can see these. So I've got about 12 or 15 clips. Some of them we may have seen, some of them we may not have seen. Feel free to put a question up in the chat or ask if you have a question. So the first one has to do with restarts at the box. So when we have a ball go out of bounds, somebody real quick tell me what we should do with the restart. So it goes out of bounds in the box area. What are we doing?
5 yards in.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. 5 yards in. So let's watch the restart. Okay, so the ball went out. White player comes out, and we restart right there. So we have 2 problems here. First of all, we're 5 yards from the box. Second of all, he's within about a yard of another player. Okay, and technically he's too close to these 2 players as well, if you can see that. This is why we make sure when we're near the box, don't be quick to restart. Go to right where you want the restart point, and don't restart until the player comes to there. Okay, that's not a quick restart. We shouldn't move those restarts along. I've seen this in a couple films, so make sure that we're making that point of running up and pointing right to the spot where you want them to be, and make sure you start on the right side of the midfield, and that we're 5 yards out. And even if the restart, let's say the ball was to go out here between these two blue coaches, we're still going to get the ball, so we're 5 yards from the box. Here we have the two guys too close, but the other problem is, let's say this team was subbing right here and you restart right here, he came running out. You've kind of set him up, for an illegal procedure for not being 5 yards. So make sure we're doing that. Okay. All right. This one is going to have to do with positioning. All right. And there'll be a couple clips on this. So in this case, play is going this way after a restart in the far end of the field. So the player comes down, or the referee, and he stops because play kind of breaks down here. Okay. As the new lead, we don't want to do that. Our goal is to hustle as fast as we can and get here while watching the play. Okay. We don't want to stop. Okay. And get set up. All right. Does that make sense? All right. So the next one has to do with going from trail to lead. So we're going to have a clear here. All right. And I want you to watch the official right here. Okay. Whenever you're going from trail to lead, and it doesn't matter if you're in 2-man or 3-man, your objective, this goes back to the last clip, you want to get to GLE. And this is a fast break. So you should recognize it and go very quick. So watch what happens. So the official's backpedaling, but we have a fast break. Okay. And he slows down and he stops and play goes by him. Okay. And I'm not going to show you the end, but the problem that happens there is he's going to be here and something's going to happen down here. So when you have those fast breaks, remember, we want to be 2 lines ahead of the play. As the lead, just take off and trust your partner, work as a team to make sure that we are getting to GLE where we can referee.
Thank you.
All right. This is going to show going from trail to new lead. Okay. And some really good hustle in a similar situation. So the referee is running. He's not the most fleet of foot guy. Okay. But he gets all the way down and he's in the right position to hear the timeout call. Okay. So that's what we want to do.
Yeah,
All right?
2 big guys in that game.
2 big guys, and they were showing some hustle. All right. And here in 3-man, this is just phenomenal hustle. So I wanted to call these guys out in this game. So we have a fast break. All right. And I just want to show you the coverage. Okay. On the fast break. So he's coming across midfield. We have great view. Okay. No stopping at the cone here. The single is through. He's through. All right. And by the time the ball gets down there, our 2 referees were in the right position. Let me go back to that one for a minute.
St. Mary's.
So once they get down there, they're in almost the right positions on a fast break. That was just awesome. And that, just so you know, that's Stephen Tryon. He has a good excuse for being fast. This is Chris Widener, who's speeding it up. So they both show great hustle. I just wanted you all to see that. All right. All right. Restart positioning. All right. So this is a deep restart. Okay. This is the trail official. Restart's happening over here. Okay. I would like to see, and we all should see, you should be coming back to here, not moving forward. When we have these kind of restarts, we want the new trail to always be behind the play. All right. So he should have restarted back there. Okay. And also really be outside of everything. He ended up in the middle there. Okay. And this one, this is a similar restart. Okay. And I want to show you the reason. So watch what happens here. Okay. If we'd started the restart down here, Okay, something definitely happened to that goalie. All right. And the referee, because he conducted the restart up here, is just way too far to really see. It wasn't anything really terrible, but you might have had a push. It would have been nice to, see at least a play on push. You might have seen something a little more. Maybe you had unnecessary roughness. All right. So that's why we want to make sure we're behind the play when we have those restarts. All right. This is some single positioning. So our single side is over here, settled offense. All right. And really what I want to see in the end, so let's just look at it and then I'll comment. Okay.
Greg, can you make it big screen again? Sorry, I'm working on the cell phone.
I really can't because I need to be able to see my notes. And it's the only way I
That's perfect.
can.
That's perfect right there.
I will share this playlist afterwards though. And that's one thing too, Kyle, thank you. I recommend, it's good to watch these on your phone. It's good if you want to watch some film once in a while when you're, sitting somewhere, but looking at these playlists, it would be best to get on a bigger screen, like on your computer. Okay. So the single's all the way out here. We'd like to see the single come and be somewhere down here, kind of in between these. He's really not doing anything super effective right there. Okay. And he sits. So we want to work to get him, and this should be our correct settled single position. Okay. This will be, so this is going to be similar. And one of the reasons why we want to get him closer. And in this case, we have play all the way down here at the goal line. We need the lead, especially in a 3-man game. He should be down there. So he has a good look at the end line and all the action going. Okay. When that happens, the single should be really pinching in hard and taking over the goal coverage. Okay. He should be back here. We have good coverage. Our trail's in great position. All right. He actually might be a little bit pinched in too far, but certainly not going to miss anything there. So what I want to look at real quick, I kind of drew some lines here. So when you're the lead, especially in a 3-man game, but even in single, this is your area of influence. All right. Behind the goal line, pretty much everything over here till you get into no man's land where it's far away. And in most cases, if we're doing this right, you should be the only one looking down here because the single has this area of influence. And even when play is back here, you can see here our single's looking straight over all the way over there. And our trail kind of is too. The single should still be looking in, and really he should be down here looking up, just in case you get any nonsense on the crease. You get, somebody run through the crease, you get an interference. Okay. And then our trail, this is his area. So everything kind of in between the back end stuff, his sideline, and kind of anything close to the sideline up to about here. So when we're in these 3-man situations, that's really what we should have. The lead should have everything, almost everything behind the goal. Like we should never see this guy, make a call of something over here because he really shouldn't be looking over there. Okay. We want to use the maximum. Okay. We do have 4 guys back here. Normally it's only 2. So we don't want 2 people refereeing 2 people or even 2 guys refereeing 4 guys. All right. Does that make sense to everybody?
Okay.
All right. So the next one, I just want to show a good shot run out, but my mouse has stopped working. So this is also by that hustle crew. Okay. And the reason I put this on here is I'm not seeing this a lot. All right. We should be running out every shot. And even in this case, it's not a hard shot. There's nobody else back there, but we want to be in that habit of running out that shot. Okay. Getting back there, getting to the right spot for the restart. He's got good coverage. If this guy's defender wanted to come down and play, he's in the right spot. And we always have the single right here. So that should be very good teamwork there. All right. So that was very good to get behind. That way also, if all of a sudden something goofy happens, you can take off and get good coverage. All right. We're going to look here at goal coverage on the other end by the lead and the single. Okay. So again, we really want them both in. This official should be really kind of following these guys in. So he's as close to the goal. And again, our single doesn't really need to be all the way out here. He should be in. And what happens here, oh, I clipped it a little too short. Let me go back to it. Unfortunately, I think I clipped this a little bit too short. Ah, God dang it. So what ends up happening here is we have a crease violation. And the lead makes the crease call from all the way out here. If they've been following in, like I'm saying, they're going to be right here. There's no question. It's just a great, you really sell the call. And he's also in here on the crease. Okay. All right. Here's another one. This is going to be, we're going to end up with a flag in this one. And again, our single's way, way out here. We want our single in here. And if our single's in here, he's going to catch that push that happened. Okay. Let me go back to that one. So what happens is, oh, I went one too many. So he's all the way out there. Watch right here. All right. And really the lead when this happens should be on the goal in the crease. And the single should be in position to have that push. But he's 30 yards away and can't see it. Okay. So just make sure that we're pitching in and getting in on the single.
Hey, Greg, what yard line, since we can see the yard lines on that last one, do you like this single standing on? I know you're saying about pinching in, but what yard line?
So in very settled play, we usually kind of use the top of the crease as your guide. So the lead should be on the crease. The single should be somewhere on that crease line, which here's about the 12 or 13 yard line.
Okay.
Or, depending on anything up, but there shouldn't be this much space. And they should be mobile following in and out, just like, he probably could be in a little bit closer and coming back. So we want to be coming in and out with the play, but we don't want to see the single all the way out at the restraining line, unless play is spread way out. If you come down here and if he's in here where I want him, he can always bail this way, which is fine. It might be hard to bail straight out, but you can always kind of bail out if the play comes your way.
Thank you.
All right. Yep. No, good question. All right. The next thing I wanted to get to. Okay, so this is a face-off. All right, and three-man mechanics. We always should have. That's the single side official. He's conducting the face-off. This is the lead left. Okay, we have a lot of options in three-man of where we can cover. Okay, and we want to have maximum coverage of the face-off here. Okay, we have two guys doing two guys. Referee two players. Having both guys on the center line of the field looking in, we're basically both looking at the same thing. Okay, so we should be at kind of different positions. This is perfect if this face-off guy comes out here on the midfield line looking in. Okay, then you have a person looking in, making sure sticks are straight up and down, nothing's touching the line. This guy's got the neutral zone. Okay, and they both have their correct player for any kind of false starts or anything like that. Being across doesn't give us that nice coverage here. All right. In this case, what we'd like to see is this official come down here a little bit and look in. Okay, that's the best coverage. So we always want to be in different spots. So if the single is going to take the center and look in, he should come to the 45. If the single is going to come out on the line, you kind of have the option of looking straight in or coming over. And that option kind of gives you also the option to bail out, particularly if the player going this way is winning most of the face-offs away. It gives you a better line to get to your goal. And of course, when you're here, wherever you are is this person, okay, and this person, just look over your shoulder real quick and see where they're lined up, just so you know what's about to come. All right, makes sense. And then I'll show you one more. So here, okay, this is good. The single is kind of at a 45, but they're looking right in, and you'll see him peek in. The lead left is right here. He has the neutral zone, the heads, and can see the backhands very well as well. So, all right, he backs out a little bit, and we have good coverage on that face-off. All right, any questions about that? You know, in two-man, you're by yourself, so you can kind of go where you want to go. You know, I suggest you go where you think you're safest and you can get to your goal as quick. And because it's a two-man game, you know, we're kind of giving up being able to get everything from the face-off. All right, the last one is a positive one. This is great over and back coverage, which is always kind of a, you know, an iffy thing. But this is, again, a three-man game. So this official is going to call over and back. The ball is going to come scooting through here. All right. He goes. All right. He's gone. We have good hustle here. All right. And we get the ball right to where we want to start, and we restart. So that's good teamwork. Let's look at it one more time so we end on a positive note. All right. Good hustle coming up. He's ready, and we go. There's no real reason on an over and back to hurry things up. We always want to make sure we get the ball back to the midfield line. You know, don't try and rush it with the ball here, or in this case, you know, look at it one more time. So the guy conducting the restart comes, and you watch him. He's going to start pointing right where he wants to restart and come right to that spot. He goes there, and we have a good, clean restart. Make sense? The other thing, too, with over and back, all right, this is not always a play on, okay? If you have a over and back where it's going to be contested, or the ball goes shooting really hard way over the line, don't play it on, all right? And if you have one where you think a guy's going to pick it up quickly and run with it, do a silent play on, all right? There's a lot of problems can happen if you play this one on. You know, first of all, if the guy, like, let's say the ball came to these two guys and the black guy picks it up and then immediately has it checked out of his stick by the white player, you're now in the position you really have to stop play and give the ball back to the black player. You know, that's not a good look. But if you call the play on, he's going to get the ball and he's going to get his 5 yards on the restart. So just make sure we're doing that. But that was a great restart that really stuck out, and make sure we're doing that. So with that, that's all I have, unless you guys have. I did have one other situation. So we had a crew at a game, I guess, with some. The question basically was, if the two officials spot the same possible after game date at the same time, who would get to ask that person on a date? And the answer would be the person who brought the right uniform. So that's my answer, Steve. So, and I kept it politically correct, so I get points. So with that, are there any questions? Anything else you all want to discuss? Anything we can do better for you?
I have a question or a request. We're about mid-season or a few weeks in. Are you getting feedback from the coaches?
We're getting a little bit, not a whole lot.
Can you just can you just send them out? Like, I mean, even if it's not my coaches, or, don't put a name, just say,
Right.
whatever. We like to see the refs get there earlier, or whatever it is. Even though it's not my game, I might be able to learn from a comment from one of another game, another official.
Right. Yep. Hey, George, if I get any of those, like that, I will. Most of the feedback, what I have been doing, and I haven't done it, I haven't had time to do it this week, but I was going through and at least emailing that you had positive comments, to the officials on those crews. I've also been thanking the coaches who give us feedback, hoping to continue to get it. I haven't had anything really very critical, other than, one crew was the worst crew this guy ever saw in the history of lacrosse. And we dealt with that, and he probably wasn't correct. But
It was me.
no, that was another comment.
Oh, man. I was going.
But if I get specific positive, as I sent, I have been trying to send them out. But I'll take that definitely into account. And if we get anything, consistent, we do try to send that out or talk about it in these meetings.
Are the coaches doing their surveys?
So we're probably at about 8%, which is par for the course.
Thank you.
Yep. Some of them are, we had a couple where they've sent stuff outside of the survey, just questions. We did have one where he had 3 or 4 questions. We answered the questions. And then I also sent the clips to those officials with what the questions were. And there was one that the coach was right and 4 where the coach was not right. So we just let them know. So.
Greg, Kyle here. I have a question for you offline.
Okay.
About some HUDL clips.
Okay. Can we talk tomorrow?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Are there any other questions? All right. Please don't hesitate to give us a shout if you have a question. If I do send you an evaluation, I didn't mean to mention, I would like to discuss that not face to face, but at least on the phone. So I try to give you time to read that, look at it, and then kind of hope that you would give me a call or whoever does the evaluation so we can discuss it. I want to make sure we keep it, as a good friendly dialogue, and that we're really working to improve everybody, and nobody's feelings are getting hurt with those kind of things. So nobody has told me their feelings are hurt. I just, I want to make sure we don't get in that situation. But with that, this meeting is officially concluded.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Have a great night. Keep working hard, everybody.
Hey, Greg, you just want me to email you a picture of the people who signed in?
Yeah, just send me that, text it to me or email me. And then when I go through the list tomorrow, I'll know who they were.
Okay. There's only one number. I'm going to text them right now to figure out who that is.
Okay. I think Mike's iPad was Mike Wilbur.
No,
right.
I know that one, but the one was like a phone number. So I'm going to text that
phone
number
number
to see who that was.
Okay. All right. And if you can't send it to me, I can throw it in. I might have it. So.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Good stuff.
See you later.